Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode. We had our faction duel today and there was a ton of fighting going on. It was a lot of fun. If you hadn't already, go ahead and go check out the stream from Sunday morning. The fighting starts about 30 minutes into the stream and you'll see all the madness. If you also want to see me lose out on the holiday event, you can watch the 30 minutes before the fighting starts too. But I wanted to take a few minutes just to go over a couple battle reports just to show you guys a few different things here regarding making up teams. Not only is it important to set your team up correctly, but then also how gear plays such a significant role in the fighting. Thanks to Chris Zen Leadership Center for sponsoring this video. So about halfway through the fight, I got hit by King Kazu here, which is an absolute beast of a player. And just for a frame of reference, he is 263 million total hero power. That is VIP 17. Very, very strong VIP 17. So he sent his second squad at me. His first squad, I believe, is air at the moment, and his gorilla must be on that team as well. So he sent his second squad at me. And it's actually might have even been his third squad for today, just based on his gear. So if you scroll down to the gear here, you can see he did have a mythic radar on his Murphy, a level 4 armor piece, but then just a few, one other 4-star gun on Kim, and then a few other little upgrades here and there on the rest of his gear. But everything else is pretty much maxed out. All of his exclusive weapons, except for Williams, who just came out the other week, his weapon is level 20. But everybody else is already level 30. So a very, very strong team. However, the gear plays such a huge role here for him. And had he had most of his gear actually on this squad, or even say just a few more mythic pieces here and there thrown in, he probably would have been closer to 65 million and likely would have won this fight, because 12 million power gap is a bit of a stretch, let alone a 10 million power gap, which this already was. I was a bit surprised when I ended up winning this on defense, and this was with protectors. So it wasn't just a normal attack. He had sent protectors. So if you look on the left side here, he had level 10 protectors. So if he had gorilla on this too, he definitely would have won this. That is a super beefy attack right there. And then looking at the army, you'll see he has all of his skill chips at level 7. One of them is at level 8. His drone is 226. And he's got some level 10 drone components and almost a level 10 on the bottom, and including the rocket, the missile, you can see is 80% of its way to level 10. It's just insane. And you can see below how much power he's getting from all that stuff. Nearly 800,000 more hero power than mine. About 300 or 3,000 more hero defense, and about another 17,000 hero attack. So it's all those components do add up. That's a huge difference in power. But I did have the Overlord equipped on my side. And then looking at the masteries, you can see I have 80%. And he's got only 23% on his tank masteries, which I don't blame him, because he got that up just high enough to unlock the tactical weapon tree, and he's got 15% done in the tactical weapon tree, which also gives him a ton of power. If you look at his power on his tech, he's got 13.1 compared to my 10 million power. And then going to the tactic cards, if you're not in season 4, you've not seen these before. The tactic cards are something that came out in season 4. There's no longer the new skills that are added to the profession trees. Now there's just these tactic cards. You can see you can buy profession XP, which is what this guy's done, and a lot of the big players do. They'll buy those and then try to max these out, because you need profession XP then to level these up. So that's why his are at level 7. I have 2 at level 4. Unfortunately, I had to wait on a cooldown, so I wasn't able to take this one off yet. But I do have 2 at level 4, which gives me a little more power than this. In short, every level that these are increased is 1% attack, HP, and defense. So at level 1, it's 1, all the way up to level 10, it's 10. That's equivalent of 2 base skins per each one of these tactic cards. So if you have 2 at level 10, that's the equivalent of having 4 base skins, essentially. And that is huge amounts of power in PvP. So yes, the only reason I win this here is definitely because of his gear. If he has a little more gear on this squad, he probably would have won this. But again, that's a 10 million power gap. It already was a stretch for me to win this to begin with. Just glad I was able to. Hey guys, do you guys struggle with bad leadership, poor server quality, really need help getting things back into gear so you guys can have some fun again? Well, that may be where Crimson Leadership Center comes into play. If you or someone you know is looking into getting better as an alliance and as a server, go check these guys out. They offer services to help turn your alliance around, help boost overall server participation, and get you guys back on track to have fun. Their information is linked in the description below. Go give them a follow on YouTube and go check out their Discord. And let's get back to the video. And another one that caught my eye was this defense right here against 456. This is absolutely wild. When I first saw this, I was not sure how I beat this guy so bad. Because when you first look at this, same power. We're both 53.5 million. He's got missile. I got aircraft. I do have Murphy in the back. But you would think missile versus aircraft, this guy would roll me. And it's not like he's screwed up anything with his weapons. He does have Swift at 30. He's got Tesla at 25. I'm not sure why he didn't push Tesla to 20 up to 30 before working on McGregor up to 22. I'm not quite sure what he was doing there. But otherwise, gear, he's got tons and tons of gear. Probably the biggest thing here is not having mythic gear on his Swift. Instead of the data chips on Tesla and the Fiona, if he would have went with the armor piece and the radar on the Swift in the front row, I think that may have helped him quite a bit. Because if you don't know, having Swift on the front row, you want him to survive as long as he can to do the most damage. But without that crit damage reduction and reducing crits, he can go down pretty quick. Same thing with McGregor. You want him to survive a very long time so that he can eat the damage too and keep your Swift alive longer. By going to the skills, his skills pretty much all maxed out, so nothing there to look at. And then going to the drone and everything, 164 on the drone, has level 5 and 1 level 6 skill chip, level 9 drone components, level 8s on the bottom. He's almost got level 9s across the board, very similar to mine. And his Overlord, very similar in power there as well. Then going to the tech tree, his missile mastery is maxed out. My aircraft mastery is 80%. His siege, however, 21%. I was a bit shocked to see that. 21% on his siege mastery, 7% on his defense fortification. I think what he's doing here, I think he's trying to push up to get the tactical weapon tree unlocked. This is why I say mastery tech, very, very good, but you also want to work on the siege and defense fortification too. I never said don't work on siege, don't work on defense fortification. So this is not what I would tell people to do. I would do it something similar to what I have done with 80% aircraft mastery, 63 on the siege, 40% on defense fortification. And going down below, everything else very similar. And I think along with the siege being pretty low, the other reason is I had the war leader profession and he had engineer. So you can see I get the additional HP attack and defense, 5% damage reduction, and the reduced chances of taking critical hits, 5%. So across the board, that does make a pretty big difference. So I figured we'd take a quick look at this just so you guys can see how this fight went down, where his Swift ends up dying here, which is pretty fast. Unfortunately, he gets mitigated and is dead, I'm pretty sure, right about here. Right after this drone attack, I'm guessing. Yep, there he goes. So Swift is down. There goes your main damage dealer is gone. Once that happens, the rest of the team just falls apart. McGregor's going to take some damage here. But, man, you got to have full mythic set on that McGregor if you are that Swift, if you really want this to work. He just got ate up, wasn't able to do a ton of damage, and once he's gone, the team just falls apart. All right, and then the last fight I wanted to talk about was this one real quick. Me and this guy, we swapped hits a few different times. I was at 56.1 million when I was running the protectors. If you don't know what protectors are, they pop up for you in season 3 and then again in season 4. They're a special hero type that you get to attack with, and you don't use too many of them when you attack. Whenever you look at this here, see, I only use 310, so I can carry 310 of these into battle, but they have incredibly high stats: attack, HP, defense, and you can see their morale is through the roof. 3.03 million morale for that many troops, compared to the 2.5 million for the other player with tier 10 troops. So it's a pretty big difference in morale. See, I can do 1.17 times. I could do 117% damage in battle compared to him. But I don't think that was the main reason I ended up winning this. While the protectors do make a pretty big difference, I think it was also the fact of my lineup. So you can see I am still weaker. I am almost 2 million power behind where he is with his main squad, even with the protectors on here. But the 4+1 with Murphy in the back is what brings this thing home. So let's go ahead, open up this fight here, and you'll see the shields dropping by Lucius. He's going to get those benefits as well. He's got his Lucius in the back, and his gorilla also bigger than mine, so his gorilla is going to be able to eat more damage, do more damage than mine. But if you see here, my gorilla is still alive. My gorilla is still kicking. His diva is gone, so diva's already gone out of the picture. Damage dealer is gone. You also just lost Morrison. There's your other big damage dealer. Now Carly's gone in the front row. Skylar's gone. Lucius gone. So just like that, we were able to wipe them out, and I believe that's mainly because of the damage mitigation that you get from having Murphy in here. I really wish Lastor would make things like this a little more permanent, so you can do build teams like this and have a lot more fun versus just the typical lineup like you see on the right side, where it's all aircraft, it's all tank, it's all missile. Be able to swap heroes out and make very interesting lineups and be able to defeat teams that you normally wouldn't be able to defeat. Like me be able to defeat missile teams or beat aircraft teams that are bigger than me because of those unique advantages you get. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about some of this new fighting stuff that they brought out with Season 4. Do you think these are some fun changes? How are you guys liking your seasons? Do you think Season 4 is looking like one of the best seasons yet? Hopefully, in my opinion, Season 5 brings even more changes because they got a lot more work to do to make things a little more fun throughout the season, not just all these highs and lows that we see at the beginning of the season and a lot of lows at the end of the season. But as always, thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.